welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. What if money wasn't part of success? Would the people I used to be friends with never left? What if making a name didn't come with regrets? I think that fame's a precursor to death. Death of a friendship, death of a family, death of a man. The misunderstood are always dead before they understand. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. I'm Guy Pigden.
And I'm Harley Neville. I didn't hate that one. Normally I do. Normally I hate all of your lyrics. I quite like that one. Who was that?
That is Machine Gun Kelly from his album General Admission.
Yeah.
The track Spotlight, which is about his rise to stardom.
Right. My lyrics last week, I didn't credit them due to being shit-faced. That was King 810 last week. King 810 again. So we better pick up probably where we left off last week. So last week, when I say last week, I mean it was more than a week ago. Let's cut the shit. We're sorry, guys.
Well, yeah, we should do an apology to start off the show that took us a little while to record this.
Well, we're just busy guys.
We're busy boys.
No, they know that.
We're busy boys.
Yeah, so last week we recorded the podcast after I had emceed a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I was quite drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, I woke up. So I had 12 or so wines at the wedding, and then I came here and drank another 2 beers during the podcast.
Yep.
You drank 4, I drank 2.
Yep.
And that was a mistake. I think those last 2 beers
really put you over the edge.
They just were not necessary, you know? Like, I'd reached the stage where they were just absolutely not necessary. You know, 12 wines deep at coming up to 1 in the morning. Or whatever.
Oh, yeah, it was a late one.
Yeah, it was a real late one.
Yeah.
It was just entirely unnecessary. And so the next day, I woke up, didn't feel that great. Might have overdone it a little bit. And yet it was the premiere of Pork Pie, a New Zealand remake of a New Zealand classic film, Goodbye Pork Pie, from the 70s?
I think it's from the 80s.
From the 80s.
And you see what they did was they took off the first word and just called it pork pie.
Yeah, well, that's right.
That's the evolution there.
Well, that makes sense, though, right? You gotta capitalize on the existing brand. Makes sense to me. So the next day, I didn't feel that great, but I had bought my ticket like a month beforehand to the world premiere, the yellow carpet world premiere of Pork Pie, and I really didn't want to go. Really wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
But it's not because I wasn't looking forward to the movie. It was simply because I was hungover. And anyway, I forced myself to go along. My logic being, I really didn't want to go, but I figured if I don't go to the premiere of a film and be seen and get in photos and do all of that stuff because I'm hungover, well, then that's a very clear indication that my drinking is affecting my work negatively, isn't it? You know, how can you justify that? How can you justify missing a red carpet photo opportunity because you don't feel like it because you're hungover?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, Harley, put your big boy pants on, you know. And so I put my suit on for the second night in a row, reeking of wine from the night before.
Sweaty, boozy suit. Dripping of like however much percentage alcohol.
Came out of my pores.
Yeah.
And so I put that on and I went down there to the premiere and it was jam-packed. There was all the, celebs were there, all the New Zealand celebs were there and photographers, and it was all happening. And I must have arrived at just the perfect time. I guess the stars just aligned because it was kind of like, I think they'd just let through sort of the main actors and they'd just opened up the carpet to, just guests.
To jobbers.
To plebs such as myself.
Yeah.
And I was like very well dressed. I'd put on my full 3-piece suit. And so I was one of the first people in kind of after the main cast. And so I think it kind of looked like I was in some way associated with the film as a cast member. And so I got quite a few photos. I was in a few photos, and it was good. It looked good, and it was definitely worth it. And those photos then went on to be in Women's Day, which is pretty cool because I've never been in Women's Day before. It's like I don't know if they have Women's Day overseas, but it's like a rag for women to read, celebrity gossip and so on.
Literally one of the worst magazines in the world.
Might be.
But yeah.
But still good to get into.
Zombie Holocaust couldn't get you there. Being the star of a feature film couldn't get you there. But tagging along to a premiere of something you had zero affiliation for could get you in fucking Women's Day.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Crack that.
Fuck's sake, man.
But it was a resounding success. My plan was a resounding success because when I bought the ticket, it wasn't about going to see the movie. As much as I want to support New Zealand film, it was about being seen at the movie because I'm trying to get this visa for America, and part of what I need is I need to show that I'm this extraordinary talent from New Zealand. So things like pictures of me on the red carpet, doesn't matter where they are, that's helpful for my application. Yep. So me in Women's Day looks real good actually on my application. So, complete success. Felt like shit. Took my selfie stick with me. Yes, I have a selfie stick. Yeah.
Yes, you have a selfie stick.
And sometimes I whip it out in public.
Yes, you took it to the premiere that you weren't really a part of.
And then I took a selfie stick selfie on the red carpet in front of a whole bunch of people who did laugh at me. They did.
They did physically laugh at you.
One lady said, "I didn't even know people had those anymore." Yeah, well, listen up, bitch. Here's the thing. I just came back from Hollywood, all right? And let me tell you what's in Hollywood. Selfie sticks. I'm telling you. I went to all these premieres, all these screenings, and all the cool kids had selfie sticks, and they have LED lights which they put on the front of their phone. They clip on.
Christ.
They're clip-on lights.
Clip-on LEDs.
Nice. Clip-on LED. You clip it onto the front of your phone, and then when you do a selfie, you've got nice lighting and a selfie stick, right? So your selfies are kind of awesome, and that's what they're all doing. And so it'll catch up. It'll get here eventually.
That's interesting because we didn't ever talk about you purchasing a selfie stick,
right? Yeah,
but if we did, I would have been most disturbed.
Well, my logic,
most disappointed. But no, I get why you're doing it.
Yeah. Well, the logic was I want to do more vlogging and shit like that this year in order to build up my online presence before I go to LA. And so I need the tools, right? And one of the tools is a fucking selfie stick. I'm going to make it. It's going to make my vlogs a lot more pleasant to view. If it's a better angle and I'm not holding it with my arm and all that, So if you look at most vloggers, I'm sure they've got selfie sticks, good ones. Anyway,
how much did your selfie stick cost?
$5.
Oh, that's all right.
$5 from a $5 shop in Hollywood.
Is it an extendable one?
Yeah. So I put it in my pocket and I just extended it out, put on my phone, and then took a picture of myself on the carpet. But because I was hungover, I didn't do a very good job. What I wanted to do was I actually wanted to get a photo of me in one of the magazines or one of those proper red carpet photos, except for it was a picture of me taking a picture of me with the selfie stick. That's kind of what I wanted because I thought it would be funny, social media. But I was kind of just really over it and hungover as fuck and didn't do it. But so anyway, I went.
In the future, police will beat down protesters with selfie sticks.
They might.
As opposed to batons.
Right. Just picture that. So I went inside anyway, and it was at this massive theatre, the Civic, and it's probably New Zealand's biggest theatre, I guess. It
would certainly be pretty close to.
It's like the one in the centre of our biggest city, and I'm sure it's got to be our biggest or one of our biggest. And it's fucking huge, and it was jam-packed full of people, and I was just really didn't feel like talking to anybody. And when I saw people, I avoided them. Which is the opposite of, that's not why I went there. I went there to hand out cards and shake hands and be seen, but I was just like, fuck it. And then, so the movie finally...
The sweats had set in.
Yeah.
The alcohol sweats had set in. The hangover sweats.
Into my suit. And I hadn't really eaten properly either. Rookie mistake. And then, so the movie finally started. I went to my seat. Now, the thing is about my seat was I just had a general admission ticket. I had nothing special, I just bought a ticket. I'm not associated with the production. So I went and I found my seat. It was way up in the high altitude nosebleeds.
You're right.
Because this place is, 2 stories kind of tall. It's got 2 different tiers. I was at the very top, at the very, very left, at the very, very, top, right in the middle of fucking nowhere. And the
wastelands.
Next to me was a large Polynesian family, like mum, dad, kids, grandparents on the right-hand side, and on my left-hand side was an elderly Australian couple who were complaining, particularly the man. Were complaining even before the movie had started. They was complaining, and I was 2 seats into the line,
stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly.
There.
And it was kind of I couldn't just jump up whenever I wanted and go take a leak or go and get a drink or anything like that, And I I said to the guy, I said, look,
evacuate your bowels.
Exactly. I said to the old guy, I said, hey, do you guys want to move along a little bit, because I'll probably let me be on the end. It's a slightly better seat for you. And that way I can just get up and go to the toilet and stuff. And he was like, no, we're good here. We're good here, thanks, mate. And
Jesus.
And so I was like, okay, cool. And so I sat there for I got out of that seat while the speeches were still going. Went and found another place even further back and hung around for about 20 minutes, watched about the first 20 minutes of the film, and then I was like, you know what? I'm really fucking hungry. I'm really fucking hungover. I got to get the fuck out of here.
Fuck this shit, man.
But what I saw of the movie was good. I do recommend that people go see it. I do want to support that film. It was very ambitious. They closed down the Lambton Quay in Wellington and stuff like that, and had a car hooning down it, which is quite a big thing for a New Zealand film. And there was the stunts and all that looked really good, and everything was good. But I just wasn't in the right mindset.
Well, obviously the star of that, James Rolston, was in that horrible car wreck.
Crash, yeah.
But you do have to wonder, because the car crash was after they finished filming by Pork Pie, in which he did many of his own driving stunts, apparently. And you can't help but feel that he was taught all this great driving and, full of vim and vigor, went and was kind of doing all this shit in his normal car, and then had a horrible accident.
Yeah, well, it kind of sounds like that's what happened, right? It was
one
it was his own
begot
crash.
the other, you know?
Yeah,
a little bit.
I don't think you could blame, his training or the production. I think you'd have to blame being a cocky young man who's just done a cool driving movie.
Yeah, but who's been given these driving skills as well, which are very dangerous in the wrong environment.
Yeah,
that are dangerous at all times, but very dangerous in the wrong environment. But when you're with your mates, you're like, sweet, I can do all this cool shit. I can I can do all this stuff. Let me show you. No.
Well, after the premiere, I posted the Women's Day picture on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I might be fucking... I might have beef with Dominic Hoey, who my idol.
Oh, your best friend.
My poetry idol.
I'm
not sure if
your
he's...
knight in shining armor.
Yeah, I don't know if he's sending shade my way here. Right? Because this is
your hero. This is
my hero.
This is big news. This is a guy that you paid some silly amount of money to go on his riding course.
Yeah, I went on his riding course.
You went on his riding course. You followed him to all his events.
Yeah,
you've accosted him and said, "Hey, man,
I'm a poet too.
I'm a poet too. Big fan.
Yeah. Hey, it's cool that you're a podcaster and a filmmaker and a poet. Because guess what? I'm a podcaster and a filmer and a poet.
Guess what? Me too. Twinsies."
Oh, you've got tattoos. I like that. Oh,
sweet.
I've got tattoos.
Sweet. So anyway, that was you. So now what? Now there's some beef going down here.
Well, you tell me. Is he throwing shade or not? Because here's what happened. I posted on Facebook. Now, it wasn't my best post. I actually did it in a bit of a rush, and it was it was something like finally reached my life goal. Made it into Women's Day, and then I had the photo.
Yeah.
Now, I was posting that, sort of sarcastically, but perhaps my post wasn't super clear. Maybe it could have
seemed
really come across like I actually really, really wanted to get into Women's Day, which, don't get me wrong, I did want to get into Women's Day, but it wasn't a specific goal. Anyway, so I said, got my... life goal, got into Women's Day, and he commented, You need to set a higher benchmark for your narcissism.
That's good.
Yeah, well, I thought it was good
That's
too.
a good line.
It is a good. It is.
That's a good burn.
It is.
It's a good deep burn.
I tell you what bothers me. Tell you what really boils my piss is I actually thought he had unfollowed me ages ago. I assumed that we were still friends, but he had unfollowed me because I never hear a thing from him, right? I'm always liking everything he posts. I share his shit sometimes.
Leaving cheeky comments here and there. Oh, cool work, bro.
No, I'm too scared. I'm too scared to give him a comment in case he thinks I'm a dick.
Just giving him likes and shares.
Just likes.
You
just
did
likes and
openly
shares.
share his writing.
Yeah, I did. And I wrote, I hereby endorse Dominic Hoey's writing course.
Yeah.
And shared the link to his writing course, right? Yeah. And then the next thing I get from the guy is, you need to set a higher benchmark for your narcissism. Now, it's like, okay, if he had unfollowed me, which he clearly hasn't now, because he's seen this. So that means he's been seeing all my posts.
All the stuff.
And he's been remaining
it.
silent on all of it.
Because he thinks you're a total spicer.
A total fucking spicer. And so when he jumps in to say something, it's to fucking rain on my parade.
Oh, to shit on you. To shit on you from a great height.
Yeah.
This is great.
So I don't know. I just don't know how to take that.
Well, there's no good way to take it. There's definitely no good way to take it. Yeah, that was a good burn. That's pretty funny. Witty.
Yeah, well, that's why I like him.
And it was as you were midway through reading that comment is when your heart shattered into a million pieces.
Yeah.
And you started heaving at your desk with these deep guttural sobs from the depths of your soul.
Well, it was like when Lisa Simpson rejected Ralph on live TV, and Bart pauses it and says, "See, you can see exactly the moment that his heart broke." That's what happened. That's what happened to me.
Oh yeah, well, these things do happen from time to time.
And which kind of leads into...
Did you reply to that?
No, I didn't know what to say.
You were too
devastated.
heartbroken.
Oh, no. Actually, no. I did. I said, yep. Next, or something like... cracked it. Next goal, Celebrity Treasure Island. Or something like along those lines.
Yeah. Trying to make light of a bad, ugly situation. try to just really kind of brush over the devastation that you're feeling at the time.
And my idol shitting on me. And the thing is, I've been trying to build up the courage as well. I've been trying to build up the courage to ask him out for a networking beer.
Yeah.
Because here's the fact. Here's the situation, right? His is the only other poetry in the world, other than mine, that I like. I haven't found any other... I haven't found any other poetry that I like that's just straight poetry, not like a hip-hop thing.
Yeah.
And so his is like the only other poetry I've found. We're in the same city. We're both movers and shakers. We've both got social media followings. We're both talking about kind of similar concepts and ideas. We're not on opposite ends of the spectrum. Well, this is what I'm saying. He needs to see it that way. I'm an up and comer, motherfucker. We should team up.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense. A couple of hip, cool young dudes in the poetry / filmmaking / podcasting world in the small city of Auckland, New Zealand should be collaborating and building off each other's followings.
I think he sees you as like his shitty doppelganger.
Well, there might be something.
And he's kind of like, this fucking guy just keeps biting my fucking style, and he's everywhere, and he's all up in my face.
But my style is not like his style.
I know, and he's getting all these likes on Facebook for his dumb fucking shit.
Well, that's probably part of it, is that...
For fuck's sake, just get off my dick.
I could definitely see to somebody who considers themselves to be artistically... an artist of integrity.
Yeah.
If he considers himself to be an artist of integrity...
Which I'm sure he does.
I could definitely see him...
really hating you.
Well, I could see how he would dislike my methods.
And really looking down on you. Yeah, I totally think that's right.
Because it's like, okay, so this guy ought to be like, his poem got 20,000 views. Oh, well, good for him. But, it's because he's like... pandering to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, pandering to his dipshit followers.
Exactly.
With his fucking cheesy fucking photos.
You go, yeah, we get it, bro. God's not real. Move on. Let it go. Let it go. We've got real social issues to talk about here.
Like the state of the economy and housing and homeless people.
But that's the thing. I mean, I've got cred. I spoke out in defense of the Greens' warrant of fitness for rental properties.
Yeah.
But again, I think.
But you also posted a photo of yourself in the mirror, saying about the full moon, and it was a photo of your butt.
When?
When there was the new supermoon, and you're like, a photo of an exclusive supermoon, and it's a photo of you,
it's my ass,
and it's your butt.
I'm a funny guy, right? There's some high quality humor right there.
I feel like that's the yin and the yang there.
Right.
But I also think too, like, if I didn't know you, even if I did know you, I know you. And that Women's Day pose, I'd be like, yeah, fucking cock. Fucking Women's Day, fuck off.
Yeah.
But, I see your angle you're going for, but, I don't think, like, just to, like, I guess what that is like the very definition of a poser. Like, the very sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can totally see, because he's kind of rebelling against the Ponsonby scene
and Women's Day
and all of these types of superfluous pop culture kind of like things that stupid people are into.
Whereas you're embracing them.
Whereas I'm embracing the hell out of it, and I'm seizing every opportunity. And then I think as well, what it probably comes down to is that, okay, I'm up there and I'm talking about these social justice kind of things, but I'm not really putting my money where my mouth is, I'm not really walking the walk. I'm kind of just talking the talk. Let's cut the shit. We all know that. I like this guy is the type that volunteers at soup kitchens.
Right, yeah.
He does like charity gigs, for Auckland Action Against Poverty and all of these types of things. So he's a vegan as well, or maybe he's a vegetarian or a vegan as well, which is something that I talk about and something I should be and something I commend, but am not, because I don't walk the walk. I just talk the talk. So I can totally see how he would not like not so much not like me, but not really agree with everything I'm doing and see all of that. But that doesn't change the fact that this can be a mutually beneficial relationship whereby a couple of guys in a very small industry, a small scene in this city can kind of collaborate and grow together. But it's
also
like
maybe
divided or together. It makes sense together. So let's go for a networking beer. But I'm too scared to ask him in case he says no. Imagine if he says no. He goes, look, man, I'll probably just see it at the next gig, eh?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sweet, bro.
Sweet, bro.
Oh, cool. No, just wondering, eh?
All good.
Sweet.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, no, it's sweet as just a dumb idea, really. Oh, that's great. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that develops. But clearly he has been monitoring and looking down at you for a long period of time.
Yeah, I guess so. It does break my heart a little bit that after all the undying support I'm giving him as far as like sharing his things and liking and all that stuff, can't even flick me a like every now and then for one of my funny posts.
I guess
come on, my shit's funny. Doesn't matter.
I'm a funny guy.
Doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of left to right politics and all that stuff. The shit I post can be funny sometimes. Flick me a like. Flick me a pity like if you have to, Dom.
Just a pity like. Yeah. Well, it is interesting because that's the thing for him. And for us, you can't pick your fans.
You can't.
And true. Sometimes you really don't like them.
Yeah.
But they're your fans, so you can't, like, really just go, hey, mate, you're a fucking moron. And your shit on Facebook is weak. and you're a full-on fucking hypocrite with your fucking social networking bullshit.
None of our fans are like that. We love our fans.
But and you just have to. You can't because they're your supporters, and you don't have enough supporters to shoot down any one supporter.
I tell you what, I fucking hit like on our supporters' stuff. Right?
You support our supporters.
I do. Now that segues nicely into a few topics actually.
Okay.
Firstly, our production diary for Older is out.
That's right.
And you actually said you thought it was your favourite one yet.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So big shout out to Dave Munn, who put that all together for us. Thank you so much, Dave. He came along to the funeral scene and he filmed a behind the scenes for us. And if you guys want to see it, go facebook.com/Pigville and the number 2, Pigville 2, and it'll be one of the latest uploads. Or go along to facebook.com/Older Movie. Or Older the Movie. No. Here,
Older the Movie.
Yep. Facebook.com/Older the Movie. And it's one of the recent uploads there as well. So go check that out. And the music for that was provided by a local rapper called Louis Nux.
Yes.
Now, Louis Nux I met through this whole Dominic Hoey connection.
Yep.
You see, so that's where the segue is. And he is a cool dude too. He's got like tattoos all over his head and all over, like full on, like, I don't know, 90% body coverage of tattoos. And he's a rapper with a bunch of followers. He's got lots of likes on his page and he's got a bunch of songs out and all that.
Yep.
But he's not just a rapper. He does, he's the type that volunteers at soup kitchens and so forth as well. He does like charity things and community things and works with at-risk youth and all of that type of thing, which is all very commendable. But so we used his music in it. And I thought we were reasonably chummy. Not too much, but I thought we were reasonably chummy. And so I sent him a message the other day being like, hey, so look, I didn't put your music in this production diary hoping that you would share it, but I put your music in the production diary because I think it's great.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if you'd share it. Because you've got a lot of followers.
Yeah.
No reply to that.
No reply to that one?
Now, I put $50. I gave this guy cash. I gave this guy $50 on his Indiegogo or whatever to get his latest album out. I fucking own that music. That's my fucking album.
What's funny is that is a good album. That's Tiny Warm Hearts, right?
Yeah. Tiny Warm Hearts LP. Go check it out on Bandcamp.
And I listened to that album, and it's really good. And I think we may possibly use some of it in Older.
Right.
If he ever Facebook messages you back.
Yeah.
That is, because if he doesn't give us permission, we won't.
Well, he has already given us permission, so we're all good.
Well, we've still got to get some things signed.
Or something, yeah. Well, I'm sure that'll be fine. But yeah, no reply. So I'm really just being snubbed by my idols at the moment.
Yeah, snubbed by your heroes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll call this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we'll call it.
Well, what else? What else you got? I did think it was interesting actually just talking about the Older thing, as you were like, yeah, so didn't really know my lines, hadn't really prepared, didn't really know what I was doing, but now looking at it, that looks really good because it looks like I'm thinking of what I'm about to say.
As opposed to desperately trying to remember my line.
And so it looks like I'm, using my acting to come up with the things that I'm saying, as opposed to just not knowing what I'm doing. And that really works well. That looks good. So you've stumbled across a new technique of acting.
I'm going to start teaching it to people. I'm going to start doing classes.
You're basically like, look, just
it's not the Meisner technique. It's the Nebster. It's the Nebster technique.
It's the Nebster, which is basically go over your lines, be very unprepared, half know them but don't really know them, and then kind of study your way through them, hoping that it will seem quote unquote naturalistic.
Now, to be fair, the reason why I was ill prepared was because I spent the majority of my time producing that shoot.
Well, yeah.
When I first and foremost consider myself to be an actor, not a producer.
Yeah.
So my producing duties got in the way of my performance goals.
Well, that can happen a lot of times, whether it's your producing duties or your directing duties, or your writing duties, or your ADing duties. Lots of duties, too many duties in the kitchen can fuck up your other duties.
Yes.
So that was quite a tricky shoot, that one, for those specific reasons, is that there was a lot to organise and think about logistically, and then we both had to do some very serious acting, some very dramatic acting.
Yeah.
And also you did mention something that I think is quite interesting, and I think it's kind of true of filmmaking, but certainly acting, is that acting is like going to the gym, right? You go to the gym, you get stronger, you get better, you can do more, you lift more, you look better. You stop doing that for a while, you come back, you're weak.
Yeah.
You can't do
Schlubby.
shit. You look out of shape, you look terrible, your form has deteriorated. That's what happens with acting. If you're like if you haven't been doing acting for a while, and then you got to do some real hard acting,
It's hard.
It's hard, and it is a muscle, and muscles, they have to be exercised for you to stay good. So that's just a little word to the wise,
Which is why, I mean, I've had a bit of a quiet period lately as far as roles go. When I like this last kind of year or so, like I've had a bunch of auditions, but I haven't really landed any good roles.
Yeah.
And so part of what I've done is, or big roles, or paying roles and all that stuff. And so part of what I've done is I've started saying yes to a lot more stuff. And just saying basically yes to a lot of things. And so that's how it came to be that I have now acted in 3 different productions for 3 different members of the Hardy Hundy. That's pretty cool. So the first was Scott Turnbull, who is in Hamilton. Now, you guys might recall that a while back I road tripped down to Hamilton to act in a music video. Now, that music video is out now.
Is it?
It is out, yeah. I just shared it on the Guy and Harley Facebook page, which is facebook.com/GuyandHarley. So go along there and scroll down and you'll see it. And it's a music video by Scott Turnbull, and it's cool. It really turned out well, I think, all things considered. It was... it's very watchable, and it's kind of got a compelling storyline that you can follow from start to finish.
Do you play some type of pedo or a sex offender?
No.
Nice.
No.
Nice.
That isn't typically my genre. But thank you for the implication. No, I play a crime boss.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Yeah, a crime boss that orders hits on people instead of just hits on people. And so...
That's dad joke. If you keep it account, that's dad joke number 1 for the podcast.
And so anyway, that's out. So go check that out, facebook.com/GuyandHarley. Scroll down a little bit, you'll see a music video there for YouTube, and that's Scott Turnbull, part of the Hardy Hundy. He was also an extra in the funeral scene.
Thank you, Scott.
He came all the way up, and I don't think I introduced... Well, I definitely didn't introduce him to you. Did he introduce himself to you?
I don't think so.
See, I should have done that, but we're all so busy. But anyway, he came all the way up from Hamilton to be an extra for us, as did Chris from the Chris and Sam podcast. They probably could have carpooled. Anyway, I've also acted recently in a web series or a pilot for Paulette Edzer, of the Hardy Hundy, who directed the film Internationum, which I acted in last year.
Yep. That
went well. Seemed pretty smooth. Still got some more shoot days, but no complaints. And then more recently, I acted in another pilot for Sam Wheeler. See, I'm getting in on all these pilots, which are probably for the New Blood initiative.
Yep.
So a whole bunch of people are shooting stuff right now in Auckland or around New Zealand, I guess, for this New Blood initiative, which is due by March 31st. It's $100,000. You shoot a pilot, you submit it, and if you get the $100,000, well, you get to make the rest of your series. So people are shooting that. So I'm putting my hand up and poking people and saying like, "Hey, cast me." And so anyway. Sam Wheeler, I'm in his one as well, and that went really well. That's called Zomb'd, and that's a really great role. That's like the lead role in the web series, and I saw a rough cut already, and it looks great. So I'm pretty excited. It's a really clever script as well.
What they need to do is they need to have yourself, the lead guy from Black Sheep, and the guy Tim Balm who plays Lionel in Brain Dead.
Oh. Shortland Street. Shortland Street Lionel.
No. I think his name's Lionel.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And Brain Dead, like, together in a zombie movie.
Well, what's that
like
guy
the
up to?
Three of you.
We could probably get him.
Who?
Lionel.
Nah.
What's he up to?
He's in heaps of shit, man.
Yeah.
He's in, like, every single TV show that South Pacific Pictures do. May or may not be related to the fact that he works for them. But, yeah, and he's, like, co-writing and directing shows for them and stuff like that. So, basically, he doesn't know who you are.
No. Well, no, probably not.
But get the three of you guys together in a zombie film. That's money right there.
Well, yeah, you might be on something. They might probably ask why I was there.
That would be the first question they'd ask. And then the second question being, what is I Survived a Zombie Holocaust?
Yeah,
I've never heard of it or seen it.
So they're like, bad taste, black sheep, and the third, in your opinion, the third most iconic cult zombie film from New Zealand is I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Was the only.
well, what about Deathgasm?
Deathgasm
Which did a lot better.
Deathgasm. Harley Neville. Let me be the first to correct you. Deathgasm is not a zombie film, as they are demons, possessed demons. So that is more akin to Evil Dead.
Right.
Yeah. So you can't count that one.
Well, I would chuck Evil Dead in with zombies too.
Well, honestly,
if
you're gonna, then you're out, mate.
I'm out.
Fucking old Milo, whatever his name is in from Deathgasm.
Yeah.
So you're not in it. Or, well, what would be more interesting, really, is if one of those big guys was in it for the first scene, gets killed off, a la Scream, and then you come in and fill in those shoes.
Okay, well, look, speaking of which, I have some exciting news.
Okay.
Right, now this is a way that we can get a big celebrity to come in and do one scene on one of our things, and then we can put his name on the on the poster, and then the rest of the movie's about me. I have Karl Urban's private cell phone number. Hi-yo!
Why?
Well, look, I can't really reveal my sources without getting people in trouble.
Yep.
But look, here's the thing. I have got Karl Urban's private cell phone number. Now,
You
Karl
really need
Urban,
his private email, though.
well, yeah.
Because if you call him, the first thing he's doing is changing his number.
Well, maybe, but that's all irrelevant. The point is that we've got a contact.
The
at the
fact
moment.
is, you've got Judge Dredd's number.
So Karl Urban played Judge Dredd in the massive Hollywood movie Judge Dredd. He played one of the main characters in Doom, that big movie. He fucked me out of a role once on Out of the Blue.
So you believe? I still maintain it was the other guy
Well,
who lived in Dunedin, so it was cheaper.
The story, no, because I told them that I had accommodation in Dunedin. I'm from there. Anyway, look, Out of the Blue was a New Zealand feature film, and it was going to be my
big break.
my first or second feature film sort of appearance. I can't remember, and it was going to be my big break. It was a big deal. I went for an audition. It went really well. I was playing like cop number 3 kind of thing, but I was in a few different scenes, and I had a few different lines, and the audition went great, and they said, cool, Harley, start growing out your hair, start growing out your mustache. It will grow out your beard, but in particular your mustache, because it's set in the 90s, so you got to have that 90s cop look about you, and go do that, Harley. So I was like, sweet. I was walking on fucking sunshine for, like a month or more, and I was telling everybody that I met about it, like I'd be at a party and I'd be like, yeah, so anyway, I just landed a big role in Out of the Blue. That's why I'm growing this silly mustache. Silly old me.
Yeah, that guy that directed that super successful film Scarface? Yeah, I think he's directing it or something.
And so I told everybody I met, because I was so fucking excited and I was such a noob, and I felt compelled to explain to people why I had such shaggy hair and beard, and I grew it. It must have been longer than a month that I grew it for, because it was getting pretty shaggy.
Yeah.
So it must have been a couple of months at least, and anyway. what happened was Karl Urban, initially the story was meant to follow a whole bunch of minor characters, each telling their own story, but there wasn't one main character that it followed. That was kind of what I got told, and that's why Cop Number 3 was there. And then when Karl Urban signed on, he'd just come off Doom in Hollywood, and he signed on for this film out of the blue in New Zealand, and they were like, well, we need to give this guy more screen time, so let's cut out some of the more minor characters. This is what my agent told me at the time. So I just didn't hear anything for a while. I just stopped hearing anything, and then I was getting some emails, oh, you available for wardrobe fittings? Yep, I am, totally, yada, yada. And then they just kind of petered off, and I just stopped hearing anything. And then eventually my agent was like, yeah, no, you're out. They wanted to give Karl Urban more screen time. So Karl Urban fucked me out of a role.
I still maintain that she lied to you.
Well, it's certainly possible.
Because I think Cop Number 3 is still in that. He's in the film.
Yeah, but okay, maybe it was Cop Number 4. You know, like there was multiple cops that it could have been.
Well, this is what I'm saying, and I could be wrong. You could be right. But what I think is simply they're like, it's going to be a pain in the ass. This role has got smaller. We'll just cast this local guy.
Yeah, well, what I should have done is I should have watched the movie by now. It's been 10 years, but I didn't watch it out of protest.
But the scars run deep.
You know, out of protest, I never watched it.
The scars run very deep.
Now, if I watched it, I would recognize if there was any of my scenes from my character. So
well,
that's the only way to really resolve this. Is if I watch it and scenes from my character are in there, well, then we know.
Well, I have seen it, and I auditioned for that same role.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And I got it. Wow, sort of.
Yeah. Well, you did. You got it over me, that's for sure. And I feel like there was some of that stuff in there,
right,
which has led me to that conclusion.
I'm going to have to watch it and let the listeners know. If you guys want to go watch it, it's called Out of the Blue. It's about the Aramoana massacre in New Zealand, so go check that out.
Because that's the other thing is, what makes me curious about that explanation is that essentially it's a true story. And I don't think they did much embellishment.
No, but I think if you apparently they did. Apparently people were very upset that it was. Aramoana locals were quite unhappy with it not being very authentic.
Well,
that's what I heard.
Because I was in Dunedin at the time of the Aramoana shooting, and If you guys want to know what we're talking about, go and Google the Aramoana disturbing stuff
massacre. I think it's New Zealand's biggest massacre. So if you go and Google New Zealand's biggest massacre, you'll find all the details about it. And that's like a 20 minute drive from our home.
Our school wrote a letter to one of the survivors. And we all signed it. It was like, get better soon sort of thing. And also one of the one of my friend's uncles was one of the policemen that was killed.
Right.
So it was actually very close to home, and we were all like, what the fuck is going on in Aramoana? We're just down the road. I was out in the West Harbour, so, it was just like a 20-minute drive away, I guess. Yeah. So it was all very alarming. That was one of because this is the thing, is like when you normally watch these based on true events movies, to you, they are extraordinary films. You're like, wow, that's pretty crazy. And you're like, whoa, can't believe that stuff really happened. But when you're actually watching something that you have a direct connection to, it's a very different experience. It's a very, I found that as, in terms of, films to watch, that was one of the most unnerving, because I was like, shit, that was literally happening, 20 Ks away from where I was as a little boy. Holy fucking shit.
Was it a good movie?
Oh, it's a great film. I highly recommend it. It's a good film.
Maybe I'll set aside my pettiness and...
Well, it's not pettiness. It's scars. Scars that run deep. I understand that.
Well, look, back to Karl Urban and his phone number.
Yeah.
I've got a plan for it. I've saved it in my phone. Here's my plan for Karl Urban and his phone number. Okay. When we have an appropriate role that you think could be played by Karl Urban, something minor where he can just swing by for the day, half for an afternoon, and just get it done, right? I will call him up, and I will say, "Hello, Karl. It's Harley Neville here.
You don't know me.
You don't know me, but please don't hang up. I got your number. I have a role for you. I was wondering if I could please send you a script, and just see what he says. He might say, fuck no. He might say, contact my agent.
Well, that's what he will say.
Yeah. Well, look, he might. It's well within the realms of possibility.
You got to go for the big... I feel like you almost have to go for the big kahuna and go, I've written a feature film for you.
Yeah.
But no, you can't say for you, because that makes you sound crazy.
Yeah.
You got to say, we've written this feature film. We think that you'd be ideal.
Look, I think the man would be foolish to not at least take a look at whatever it is that we offer him.
You go, look, I'm Harley Neville, actor of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, little film. You may have heard of it. We were at the Mowers at the same time. My friend took a picture with you.
Yeah. I took a picture with the back of his head.
And the director took a picture with you.
Took a fan photo with you.
Do you remember that? And he's like, I definitely don't remember that. You fucking idiot. Do you remember how many fucking old things I've taken photos with people for? Jesus. Yeah, it'd be good to get his email.
Yeah.
Need his email.
I'll get it from him when I bloody call him. So, we'll be fine. Don't worry, mate.
Well, that's good. That's great. That's good that you have his number. I'll be curious to find out how you did. Who was so giving that they were like, this is a good idea. I'll give Harley Neville Karl Urban's phone number.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. And I guess on that topic, or on the topic of filmmaking, because this is a filmmaking podcast.
It's a podcast about our lives.
I did want to talk a little bit about the Sundance Film Festival, which has just happened. Now, the Sundance Film Festival is kind of like the big festival, especially for sort of like independent, up-and-coming... Like, if you get into Sundance, that's like Willy Wonka's golden ticket, you know? If you get your movie in Sundance, there's going to be a lot of eyes on you, and people are going to start taking you very seriously, and there's a lot of quote-unquote Sundance hits, Sundance darlings, and films that sort of come out of Sundance that then go on to wider release, and from all over the world. And so it's this huge film festival. We would definitely submit to Sundance, for example. Like, that's a Sundance type of film, probably. I mean, maybe not in their opinion.
But in our opinion.
But in our opinion, it's a Sundance type of film. So anyway, basically what happens at this film festival is, it's a showcase for all these films, and there's a lot of people bidding on, like, the hot films. So, film gets a buzz, gets going, and distributors start bidding on it, because they want it, because they think they're going to make a lot of money off it. And occasionally these bids have got into, very high numbers. So, a film costs, $5 million, and they sell the deal as $18 million, ridiculous stuff like that. And anyway, recently there's this new player to the game, and that is Netflix. So Netflix didn't really exist a few years ago. So Sundance used to be selling to studios, and now they're selling to studios and online content providers. In particular, Netflix and Amazon Prime are the two sort of heavyweights, and they both sort of spent, I can't remember what it was, but it was a silly amount of money that they had set aside for Sundance films, because basically, they're always looking for content. They want good movies that they can then put exclusively on Netflix or on Amazon Prime that can be watched there forever. And, that's just great for them. So they're throwing a lot of money around, and it's kind of changed the landscape a little bit. But what I thought was interesting about this one in particular is that this year, in an effort to stave off bidding wars between, these big content creators, Amazon offered a deal for all filmmakers screening at Sundance that they would pay $100,000 for all US dramatic films and premieres at the festival, and in return, they would get worldwide streaming video rights for 24 months, the first 12 months exclusively, and they would also pay 30 cents per hour viewed, and 12 cents in the US and 12 cents per hour viewed internationally. And that is a really big deal. Because if you think about that, basically we go to film festivals, we hope that at that festival a sales agent or a distributor likes the film, and we hope they make an offer, and most likely they don't make a cash offer. They don't give us, that's called a minimum guarantee. which is like, we give you this much money in advance no matter what. They just go, well, if you give it to us, we'll try and sell it, and you'll get some money after we try and sell it. But this is a minimum $100,000 guarantee if you got into this festival. So that's, for any filmmaker who's making these sort of low-budget films like we are, that's $100,000 in your pocket straight away. And a huge provider, and it goes straight away on Amazon Prime, for 2 years, so it's seen by the second biggest audience next to Netflix, basically. And that is way different than what things used to be, and I feel like we're going towards the future here, where this will be a common thing, where there'll be a bunch, there'll be Netflix, there'll be Amazon, and there'll be another couple, and they'll all be like, so we're offering this blanket deal, you've got into this festival, congratulations, we're offering a blanket deal, do you want it, take it or leave it? Here's our terms, here's Netflix terms, here's something terms, which is really good for filmmakers, because you can either go, look, I want to take my chances with, the studios or, bigger distribution companies doing it more traditionally, or you go, great, I just spent $50,000 on this film, you're going to give me $100,000, I've made back all my money, I also get to pay the people that worked on it now as well, thank you very much, I'm safe, all I had to do was be selected into this festival. And it's pretty interesting. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Good.
Because that could be us. I hope that that's the kind of thing that we will sort of progress to doing, is essentially getting into festivals or creating content where we're just sort of going, okay, here's this money for this content, forget all the old way of doing it, now it just goes on Netflix, and the end, we own it, thank you, and you've made your money back, thank you, now go and make something else. That would be the dream. So, Sundance 2018.
We'll be there.
Here we come.
We'll be there.
What else you got?
Well, we'd better get into a listener feedback question.
Sure.
Which comes from Emmy, a member of the Hardy Hundy.
Yep.
She asked, this is what she said about last week's episode. Firstly, she said, well, that's an hour and a half that I'm not getting back.
You never get them back.
Well, that's true. You never get them back. That's deep, guy. I like that. I like that. You never get them back. That's good. I'll write that down. I'll put that in a poem, eh? Oh, that's good. So I don't know how to take that. I mean, that's straight away. I mean, the implication there is that the podcast was not very good. I listened to it. It was fucking excellent.
I was impressed by our last podcast.
I laughed out loud at quite a few things.
I had many chuckles.
At one point, I literally slapped my own thigh. Yep. In glee as I listened, and
as
laughed.
you know, that's the height of humour, is when you're laughing to the point where you have to slap your thigh to relieve the tension of the humour.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, she said Harley was right about exacerbate the word, which Guy pronounces excaberate.
Don't excaberate the situation, Harley, by making light of. I'm like the Donald Trump of this podcast in that, I use word bigly.
I use words.
Use words bigly, and I hope that no one calls me out on it, but they do.
But they do all day. She's glad that she made it into the edit of the funeral scene, because she was an extra in the funeral scene, which Guy mentioned last week.
She's actually in it a couple of times.
Now, I mentioned last week, in a drunken stupor, I mentioned that after going and doing a gong comedy night and getting gonged after about 2 minutes, I went to the fake vagina store and bought a fake vagina.
And took something for a little spin.
Well, actually, sorry, I didn't even buy it. I looked and it was too expensive.
And it was too expensive.
It was $35.
So you had to deal with the reality of Old Faithful.
Yeah, Old Faithful on that one. So anyway, Emmy was at that gong night, and here's what she said about that. She said, Harley, nice to know where you went. Directly after talking to me on K Road the other night. Well, and it was literally direct.
Yeah, it's like, better head home.
Yeah.
Just gonna walk straight home. Not gonna stop up anywhere. Just walking home. Thank you very much.
Look, here's the thing. The fake vagina shop is directly across the road from the poetry bar. Okay? It's right there. So we kind of crossed the road. She was going one way. I was going the other way. The fake vagina shop was right there. So I was like, all right, cool. See you later. And she walked her way. And then I started walking and then looked over my shoulder. I could see she wasn't looking, so I ducked into the fake vagina shop.
She looked the other way,
Yeah.
and then she turns back. You've just disappeared. And she's like, wow, he was walking really fast.
He's a quick guy.
He's a real power walker.
So anyway, she gave us our listener topic, which is, here's a question for you guys since you asked for them. Because we do take listener topics, so feel free to send them to us. What are you personally doing to help the climate change situation? You guys spoke about this in episode 76. So people can go back and listen to that if they want. Episode 76, we talked about climate change and that type of thing. So she wants to know what we personally are doing. So I'll go first.
Okay.
You see, Emmy, I like to identify as a vaguely conscientious consumer. I drink soy milk. I switched over from dairy to soy. That was a conscious effort. Now, I love milk, just for the record. I have zero issue with the flavor of milk. I really love it. It's ever since I was a kid, it was my favorite drink. We couldn't really afford milk that much when I was a kid. So when I got a nice big glass of cold milk, that was a real treat for me. So I'm a big fan of milk.
I will just add to that. I was a huge milk fan as a kid.
Yeah.
And I used to, there's the thing, is we never had any, we didn't really have any, you didn't have milk. That's even more extreme. I didn't have, juice or anything, any sort of nice drinks. So I would drink the milk and, imagine that I was drinking a big milkshake.
Right.
And I'd be like,
You just shake it up.
Just a great old milkshake I'm drinking. It was just shitty milk, but that was all I was doing. So I was a big milk lover. So we're both milk lovers.
And not only that, but Guy and I's first job, well, actually, my first job, it wasn't Guy's first,
I was a paper boy.
You were also a yam picker at a certain point.
I was.
You picked yams.
That job is still one of the hardest jobs I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
And I was doing it when I was 11 or 12.
Yeah. Well,
breaking my fucking back.
We got
crawling through the dirt on my knees, pulling out yams and shaking off the dirt and bugs and putting them in the bucket. And you got to imagine that this is the ground is moist, so you're getting soaked as you go through, and you're just doing that for 8 hours. Shaking yams, putting them in a bucket, put them on the back of the truck. Then the next day, wash the yams. They all get put onto the thing, they get washed, you break anything off, and you put them into a bag. That was my life. And I would just dream, while I was doing it, because also, if you imagine 8 hours of that, that's 20 hours, right? It's going so slow. And, at the end of the day, I was in pain, I was muddy and dirty, and I would just imagine in my head, I would visualize in my head the video game that I was going to buy with the money that I was making, which was it was something ridiculous, $20 a day.
Yeah.
It was an 8-hour day, and they were paying me $20, and I was like, "Hoo boy, making the big bucks."
Yeah.
That is slave labor, so slavish.
in a first world country.
Full on slave
In the
labor.
90s.
This was really bad. I couldn't believe that. But anyway.
So back to milk.
Yep.
We also had a milk run together. Guy and I used to do the milk run. I got a milk run, and I got Guy a job as a milk runner.
Which was much better paying, because it was $10 an hour, because it was $20 for the shift, right?
Exactly, and it was 2 hours to do it.
Plus, you got to drink
as much milk as you
milk
wanted.
And one flavored milk.
That's
not
right.
more than one flavored milk, because they can't afford for you to be drinking 10 flavored milks on the back of the truck.
Yeah. We did some silly shit on the back of that truck too. I climbed up on top of it. Remember, I climbed up on the very, very, the top of the truck and was up there while the truck was moving because it was fun and funny. And in hindsight, it's you dickhead, you could have got paralyzed.
You fucking moron.
And we did things like road surfing, where you're kind of hanging off the back, but your feet are still on the road, but the truck was moving,
right, yeah.
so your feet, there was not enough friction or whatever, so you're kind of skating along behind, holding onto the back of a truck, a moving truck. And then we used to dance on the back of the truck in the highway for the cars behind us.
Just hanging on with one hand
and boogieing.
And as we danced and made motions as if we were spanking our butts
while we were virgins. Now, anyway, so the point is that milk is heavily ingrained in my life.
Milk is life to us right now.
Okay.
Milk is life.
Now, I stopped drinking dairy milk Mostly. And I went over to soy. And the reason why was for the environment. It's not because I think soy tastes better. It doesn't. It's way shitter. Like, let's cut the shit. Flavor-wise, it's way crapper.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I've got to do something, right? The world's ending. The world's literally ending, and I live on the world.
And
I need to do something.
Someone's going to maybe ask about this
And
in the
also,
future.
I want to impress Dominic Hoey. So I need to walk the walk.
Yeah.
And then so I was also so there's that. I also hang on. What have I got here? I plastic, of course, plastic. I made a conscious effort to cut back on all plastic consumption because I never used to think about it.
and a conscious poem.
Exactly. So that was my next point, which is that I say no to plastic as often as I can now. I take my own bags to the supermarket and all that type of thing. And I sort of try to avoid plastic. And I also cut back on beef as a conscious effort. Not because I dislike beef. I think it's yummy, but more simply because I was like, well, beef's a big contributor to the climate change, to the greenhouse gases and all that type of stuff, along with dairy. I also downsized my ride. I used to drive a van, and I got rid of the van. Now, partially it was economics. I was like, I wanted to save some money, but it was also influenced by the fact that I did feel bad when I drove everywhere. Everywhere I went, I was taking a ton or two of metal with me, and that metal was the energy required to move that metal was coming from petrol, which I was burning and releasing into the atmosphere. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm going to downsize, and I walked to work for like 9 months or something, and then I changed jobs, and I ended up getting a motorbike. But that motorbike partially was inspired by, I was like, well, that's good. That's like less fuel consumption.
It was also partially inspired by Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah. And Easy Rider. And which I haven't seen.
What, Easy Rider?
Yeah. And on top of that, that's where the poetry comes into it, was that I did do my poem called Message in a Bottle, which is about plastic and about how it's immortal.
Well, also we should talk about how much it spent on that too.
Well, the cost of making that poem?
Yeah.
I think that was about $750 or $800. Around there, which is still quite a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
to spend on a
3-minute, 2-minute
on
YouTube
a fucking
video,
preachy social message fucking poem.
Exactly, I'm fucking spending my own money here to spread the word about plastic.
Do you have? I mean, who's got $800? That's a lot of money.
It is
fucking heaps.
It is. And so I made this poem, Message in a Bottle, which I will share on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. You can also find it by searching Pigville Poetry on YouTube. If you search Pigville Plastic, you'll definitely find it. And so it's an animated video. It's pretty cool. And so I released that, and a bunch of people did actually get back to me and say that it was really cool, and that they'd never really thought about the idea that every piece of plastic they'd ever touched still existed. They'd never really thought about that. So I am, contributing to the subversion of the dominant paradigm. I'm raising awareness of our plastic culture, which we, blah, blah, blah. And so that's about where I'm at, Emmy. And also I'm a selectivist who shares shit on Facebook. Like just the other day I shared an anti-plastic thing where everybody signs it, which I also signed. But, that's 100% selectivism. But anyway, that's about the gist of my contributions towards the climate change thing.
And me? Well, I complain about it on the podcast.
I complain about the impending end of the world on the podcast.
Well, I'm making people aware of a situation. Maybe they're not thinking about it.
Well, maybe.
But no, in truth, what do I do? Well, to be fair, I've cut down on dairy myself. I will still have the odd ice cream from time to time.
Not motivated by the end of the world, motivated by his diet, but that's fine.
But no, I will definitely
still contributing.
Definitely will say I've made a more conscious effort in that regard. So I don't really have dairy at all. I have almond milk in my cereal now, and I've also cut down almost completely no beef. And that was because of the climate change more than anything else, because I'm a big beef eater.
Yeah.
Love shoving that beef in my
He
mouth.
loves gobbling down the beef.
love a bit of beef in the old mouth.
And you, of course, you can't forget your whip.
And then we can't forget, my car, which is a Prius, which is a hybrid vehicle, which means that it is very economical and consumes a lot less gas. Of course, flip side of that, I drive it more because I'm an Uber driver, but it's much better for me to be driving that car.
I can't decide if Uber is good or bad for the environment because, on the one hand, there's a whole fleet of Priuses taking people where normally they would, if a normal person drove, they probably don't own a Prius, right? So if they choose to use Uber, well, then that's less carbon emitted than if they're driven their own car. But the flip side of that is, well, they've got to call the Uber to them, right?
Yep.
So you're driving to a person without that person in the car, so that's extra petrol being consumed. And then on top of that, you are driving all day and you're only ever taking... Well, you're not only ever taking one person. I guess sometimes you're taking lots of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there is just the thing about, I guess, that first statement is that normally you should be close to the person that you're picking up. For the most part. You should be going from
So it's probably a good
right
thing.
to right
Uber
to
is
right.
probably, from an environmental standpoint, probably a good thing because it's transporting people via Prius instead of via regular taxi and
That being said, probably like Uber the company isn't really too phased about that, but Lyft the company, which I'm hoping comes over here, is
right.
And they're
you're going to jump ship.
Oh, they're really into sustainability and like they've got all these climate initiatives.
Well, also, did you see that thing about the Uber CEO like endorsed Trump or something, and then a whole bunch of people deleted the app? Something like 300,000 people deleted the app.
There was a hashtag delete Uber or something like that.
Because some of my friends did it. Some of my American friends did it. I was like, what did I miss? But
well, that's the thing, because there are a couple of other options over there, and Lyft being like Lyft is kind of like the conscious, the sort of earth conscious, So I do drive that, and I'm happy about that, and I do think it's possible that maybe my next car could be entirely electrical. That's certainly possible, which would be.
Well, that would be good. They are on their way
for mankind.
Those electric cars. I mean, electric cars still come at a carbon cost, obviously,
of the construction.
Well, the construction, the transport, and then electricity still has a carbon cost.
Yeah,
but it's still better.
So that's really the extent of my slacktivism.
Cool. Well, look, good question to me. And if anybody else has any other questions for us, they should send them to us, facebook.com/GuyAndHarley, or add me on Facebook, Harley Neville, and send them to me there. Now, I'm thinking, I've got a few more topics, but I'm thinking we should wrap this bad boy up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because you've got to go meet your mum.
Got to pick up mummy for a dinner date.
So I reckon we've got a topic or two left. One of them is that I finally had to block Jim Eaton.
You had to do it.
Had to do it. Now, a little bit of background for the listeners. Jim Eaton is our former flatmate.
A resident sociopath.
He is an absolute lunatic in the bad way. He's essentially all that is wrong with the world at the moment.
All combined into one person.
If you think about any abhorrent political view, he probably holds it. So he's anti-immigration, he's anti-refugee, helping the refugees, he's an avid Trump supporter, he is anti-homosexuals and uses homosexual what's the word? Cuss words. What's the fucking is a better word than that? Anyway, he uses derivative. Oh no, fuck! There's a way better word. I can't. Anyway, look.
Derogatory.
Derogatory. That's it. He uses derogatory slurs against homosexuals in his day-to-day life. He frequently calls me a faggot. I'm pretty sure. I assume he doesn't believe that climate change is real. He hates women. That's a real sticking point.
That's
for him.
a biggie.
He fucking hates women.
He despises women.
But he fucks them, lots of them, because he's actually quite a good-looking guy. He's not in bad shape or anything like that. But every fuck for him is a hate fuck.
Yeah.
And
A real hate for...
I don't understand how women ever put up with him.
Well, they don't for a long period, but you know,
I guess it takes time to realize.
It takes time for this to slowly, like, you know, you don't realize that someone is like a.
Well, we let him come and flat with us.
Exactly.
Initially, when I met him, he seemed like a nice enough guy. I was like, okay, he seems alright. I had a couple of reservations, but I was like, all things considered, compared to the other applicants, this guy's pretty good. Turned out he was a racist, homophobic, right-wing misogynist, and I let him live with us, and he was a fucking. I know I really shouldn't use this word, but he's a fucking retard too. Like,
yeah.
Like lots of the things he just said and did was like, man, are you serious? Yeah. Like, anyway, Jim Eaton. But I've kept him on my Facebook because a couple of reasons. One, I don't really believe in deleting people from my Facebook for their political opinions and views.
Well, what about just being a terrible human being?
Well, that's where the second point is. But the first point is that I don't believe in deleting them because I kind of feel like I want my Facebook to be a place of discourse.
It's a place of acceptance.
Well, it is. Like it's my Facebook is the people on my Facebook for the most part are sort of left wing, not. I don't know, like atheist left-wing types, I guess, for the most part. But not all of them. And when other people want to comment stuff, I never would delete anybody or anything like that because I want these people to have conversations and I want them to influence one another and hopefully we can all come to some sort of agreement in the middle, and that's what the world needs, right? We need to work
what the
together.
world needs now
is Harley's Facebook.
Is love, sweet love.
And so there's that. But then on top of that, the reason why I kept him around, even though he's so obnoxious and horrible, is because he is good for business as far as content on my Facebook goes.
Business is booming.
I can post an article or something, and if it's political in any way, I can rely on the fact that Jim's going to show up, say something inflammatory, and then which is going to set off, which is going to trigger all of my
a flame war,
all my lefty followers, which is going to end up in 50 comments or 100 comments on something I've posted, which is great for me. That's what I want because I want my name and my Facebook to be popping up in everybody's news feeds. Such and such commented on this thing. It's just publicity. It's good for me. But I finally had to get rid of him, and it's because he's been too overtly hostile lately. So there's things like he's been posting things on my wall, like articles and stuff, and that's not the end of the world. But it's kind of annoying when people post shit on your wall.
Yeah.
But that was all right. And I even watched them. I even watched a bunch of them. Yeah. Because I was like, well, look, don't be a hypocrite, Harley.
Got to get both sides of the fucking coin here.
I can't say anything if I haven't at least watched what he's suggested that I watch, right? And of course, it was always fucking dumb, racist, ignorant shit. It was like pseudoscience crap.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he tagged me the other day in a comment on this video, and he was like, here, Harley, this one's for you, you monumental faggot. And I watched the video, and it was a right-wing... sorry, it's not right-wing. It was a Trump supporter, an Asian Trump supporter, speaking out about why Trump won and how wrong the liberal elite in the cities around the coast of America are. And it was actually a very good video, and I actually had no issue with what the guy said. But the guy in the video wasn't anti-Muslim, anti-gay. He didn't want religion in schools and all of that stuff. He was just talking about
how Trump won the presidency.
Well, not how Trump won, but also why he supports Trump.
Right.
And it was okay. It was a good video. Like, I had no issue with it. But anyway, the point is that he was calling me overtly faggot on a number of occasions, which I kind of normally let slide. But he also loves talking about the day of the rope. Now, the day of the rope, I don't know if that's based in any sort of historic sort of event that actually happened, but when he says, like, oh, Harley, I can't wait for the day of the rope for you and your liberal retard friends, and it's like, to me, the day of the rope reminds me of, I don't know, probably I can't remember what it's called now, like what's it called? Black something, when Hitler got rid of all of his political opponents in one fell swoop in one night. He sent around in like the 30s, he sent around his Secret Service people and wiped out, just like literally kidnapped from their beds people and that didn't agree with him politically and made them all disappear.
Yeah.
And so I think the day of the rope in Jim's mind is this idea that at some point they're all going to get together and like lynch us lefties, And so I sent him a message and I was like, I was like, okay, well, look, this is a bit much, This is a bit much.
You're taking it too far.
It's a bit much.
You're literally saying you hope that I am hung in a time of judgment where we kill a lot of people, including me.
Yeah, and we are. Let's cut the shit. I mean, name calling is kind of like reasonably uncool anyway. But death threats, that's up there. I mean, that's a literal death threat.
That's excessive.
It's a death threat. So anyway, I messaged the guy, hoping to kind of meet in the middle. And,
common sense would prevail.
Because when you're in public, when we're doing the public commenting, it's a thing where it's kind of like he's saying his point, I'm saying my point. Exactly, it's a game, right? So I wanted to private message him just to see what kind of where we were at. Like, was this a genuine? Was he actually? Did he actually hate me? Does he really want to kill me? Or is it a bit of a show for him as well? Because for me, it's a show. Yeah. It's all traffic, So I said, "G'day, Jim. I keep you on my Facebook because no matter how small-minded your worldview is, I do encourage you to talk about it. Humanity will never advance without in-depth discussion of ideas. If the left and the right are not communicating, then we are never going to get anywhere. We need to meet in the middle. And the only way to do that
This sounds like a fucking Barack Obama speech.
And the only way to do that is through discourse. I also see the entertainment values in your value in your posts. You're good for business. But I think that the name calling and death threats can probably be removed from the equation, okay? You have a lot of time for this silly stuff and shit posting, but I don't. I tolerate your posts because they require minimum effort from me. But that being said, I don't open up my Facebook in the morning to have some unstable lunatic calling me names and threatening me. This is your only warning. Then you'll have to go back to circle jerking with the other right wingers that will allow you on their Facebook.
Feel that's a little inflammatory.
Well, it is. To which he replied, "Ha, get fucked, you faggot." To which I replied, "That's a shame." And then I was in the process of blocking him, and before he got a couple more messages and quotations pretending he's me. "I'm a tolerant liberal, but I hate name calling." Eat a fat one. If you can't handle the banter, don't play the game, little boy. And at that point, that's when I got the block in. Yeah. But it was silly. It was silly because you don't go to name calling in a private message. It's like, man, I'm contacting you. Sure, it's a little bit inflammatory, the circle jerk thing. But I mean, that's what we're all circle jerking. That's what this echo chambers are that we exist in online. My Facebook is a massive circle jerk of lefties.
Fucking lefty cunts. We're all sick of your anti-Donald Trump shit. I'm getting sick of reading your anti-Donald Trump shit.
Who, me? Or
no,
just people in general?
No, I know he's an asshole.
Yeah,
I'm just sick of reading about how shit he is.
But yeah, so Jim Eaton is finally gone.
So Jim Eaton is our person on Who's Dead this week.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so look, I think we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I think it's time to go. Yeah, I had to block Jim Eaton a long time ago for those reasons, and I was just like, oh my God. And even still, when I sometimes saw him on your thing,
inflamed you.
I was just like, come on.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So, some of the posts, because basically he's a collector of bullshit, basically. So he collects
pseudoscience articles
and memes and stuff like that. So he just scrolls through his Facebook, sees something that he likes that fits in with his beliefs, and then he saves that to post on your page. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really want to delete him, but it was just this whole idea of, name calling and death threats. That's too much. I can't be fucked. I don't mind him posting his opinions and even saying crazy stuff. I really don't mind. I think it's good for business. But it's like I also can't be fucked with waking up to check my Facebook and saying I'm a faggot and Day of the Rope, Day of
the Rope.
So it's like, all right, Jim, you just go back to your miserable existence. And it is miserable. The man is he is a closeted homosexual as far as we are aware. Mm-hmm. We did get when he left, he moved to America, and the way he got the visa was he got a work visa through some sort of adult site, sort of or it was like Craigslist or something. But the guy that was giving him the visa was like Mr. Big Dick 26 or something to that effect. And we got this because our other flatmate got the email somehow. I can't remember. I don't remember exactly. It was a few years ago, but basically, this kind of came to us, and it was like, oh, okay, so Jim Eaton has been dealing with, Mr. Big Dick 26, from America, trying to get this visa stuff. And so it sort of, to me, it seemed like he's probably a self-loathing homosexual, and that's why he hates women, because they don't turn him on. And he's got to hate fuck them. And so it's all deep psychological stuff. That's all
big problems.
He does have big mental issues, and I think they all come from...
and I sincerely hope that he does never return to this country.
Yeah, same.
Because...
The great thing about him being overseas is that he can't vote overseas, and he's probably not going to bother voting back here, because it's so far away. So, we can just null and void him.
But the bad thing about him being overseas is that he may somehow get his hands on a gun.
Well, yeah.
He is a real, there's so many problems with this guy, but there's so many worries about this guy.
He's what's wrong with the world.
The damage to other people is what I'm concerned about with this person and this personality. But regardless, we shall press on, persevere, and block people who we slightly dislike.
All right, so thank you very much for listening. We are out of here. You can support us by going and watching I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. If you go facebook.com/ISAZH and you click on the banner photo or the profile picture or any of the pictures, you'll see all the links to where you can watch it. If you're in America, there's about 50 different places you can watch it. It's on your local cable channel. It's on Amazon and all these other places. And a lot of places in the world have it. So go and find I Survived a Zombie Holocaust on your favorite platform. Hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. That's where I'll post links leading to things we've spoken about in this episode and others. And give us a 5-star rating on iTunes too, because that really helps. And also, Patreon. I've changed Patreon from a per video thing to a monthly thing. So if you wanted to give us $1 a month to help make this podcast happen, you can do that by going patreon.com and searching Pigville.
Thank you to all the people that have supported.
Yes, I've got a whole bunch of people I meant to shout out, but I promise I'll shout you guys out all next week. I promise. Ronnie Brooks, I owe you, man.
We'll be back.
Good night. You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.